Hey everybody, John and Lance from the bench. Mornings on ESPN 97.5. Let's talk some Astros baseball. Lance, from the first week of the season where Chris Stavinsky comes in the 8th inning to now, you're seeing some crazy to Josh James pitching multiple innings. We're seeing a lot of crazy pitching decisions. Who's making the call? Is this Dusty? Is this Brent Strom? How much impact does James Click have in this? Who is exactly making these pitching decisions?
You know, it's funny. This topic came up on our radio show because it just kind of hit me today. As we're talking about Josh James's inability to go beyond a single inning and be effective, it's something that we hinted about 2 years ago. We shouted loudly last year, and it's for sure this year. And so you've seen this happen, but you know, I know Dusty Baker's the manager, but I started thinking, well, wait a minute. There's a new GM, there's a new manager, and yet this is the same decision that is being made with Josh James. Maybe Brent Strom is responsible. And I think this is a legitimate question that I'd like to have answered just out of curiosity. How much pull does Brent Strom have in who's getting up in the bullpen? When does a guy come out? How long to stay with the guy? Because one thing we know is Brent Strom is one of the most respected coaches that we've seen for an Astros team, be it a hitting coach, a pitching coach. We love Brent Strom, and Brent Strom has been phenomenal. But I do wonder if Brent Strom is the one who says, hey, let's keep trying this, or if this is just something that happens to be the case going from, despite some of the data we have. A.J. Hinch did it. Now Dusty Baker's doing it. Is this something that Brent Strom is involved in and saying, hey, let's keep trying to push this kid further? I think he can go more than an inning.
Well, Dusty did say, and you'd be dumb not to lean on Brent Strom. And Dusty did say he is going to lean on Brent Strom. But Brent Strom has been here. He's seen this. He's seen Josh James. He saw last year when eight outs to go, and he pulls Greinke. And in the first start, Greinke pitches, 58 pitches, whatever it was. And he's seen these things, and he's seen Chris Stavinsky, and he knows what Chris Stavinsky is. They had to bench Chris Stavinsky last year, and in 17 he couldn't pitch in the World Series anymore because he got so bad. So why would you, if you've seen this? I can't say that it's Brent Strom because he's been here, he's done this now for years, and he knows what this pitching staff is, and yet you're going to continue to make the same decisions and the same mistakes with this staff. I don't know.
Let me make a counter argument. Daryl Morey saw and knew who Corey Brewer was and brought him back. Bill O'Brien saw who Whitney Merciless was and gave him a fat extension. Sometimes you see it and you just want to believe what you're going to believe, and maybe that's the case with Brent Strom and Devo. I say Devo more than because Devo to me is more of a known, even more so a known entity than Josh James is, and yet we keep seeing the same reliance on these same pitchers over and over. And initially I thought it was A.J. Hinch or maybe Jeff Leno, but maybe there's something. Maybe Brent Strom is that guy. And if we trust what Brent Strom typically does, maybe he knows something about Josh James, but I haven't seen it if that's the case.
Well, and we've seen coaches, position coaches, and they have so much confidence in their guys, and we're going to stick with them, and we like our guys, and they get to know them real well. If you know Chris Stavinsky, you like Chris Stavinsky, right. You probably like Josh James, and you're going to pat him on the back, and you're going to go get him next time, and the next time he doesn't get him, and the next time he doesn't get him. But you got confidence in your guy, and you're going to stick with your guys, and you're going to continue to show confidence in them, even if it's years. In the case of Chris Stavinsky, that you continue to throw him out there, and he continues to disappoint in big situations. So maybe that is it. Brent Strom says, those are my guys, and I'm going to stick with them. But Dusty, now, if Dusty is pulling the trigger on this stuff, and we've seen Dusty before with pitching stuff, Dusty is one of the winningest managers of all time. But is there after this 7-9 start, is there any buyer's remorse, you think, with Dusty as the manager? Why did they have to pull the trigger so soon on extending him another year?
I don't know. I was thinking the same thing 2 nights ago when the Astros were being swept by the A's. All I could think of was, why is it that they gave Dusty an extension? It didn't make any sense for them to do that unless they wanted to have that continuity, or unless they maybe, there's a price tag on Dusty that they're happy with. I don't know. It didn't make it didn't make any sense for me unless you knew this was the long-term solution anyway. But at Dusty's age and some of the things Dusty said, I don't see him as long-term solution. So that was always a curious move to me, regardless of record. I didn't understand giving a manager with the age of Dusty Baker and the potential short-term nature of Dusty Baker a wider berth by giving him an extension. It didn't make sense unless you really liked Dusty and you wanted to lock him in at least for a couple of years because you didn't want him retiring after the year. I don't know, but for a manager that age, I thought that was very peculiar.
Yeah, Dusty doesn't need, a lot of managers, lame duck managers are like, hey, the guys aren't going to respect me. The guys aren't going to listen to me. They know I'm not here long term. But those are usually younger guys that don't have as much. Dusty's got all the pull in the world in baseball. And by the way, Dusty wasn't going anywhere after this year to another team, more than likely, unless he had a huge year this year and then somebody said, well, Dusty still got it, so we're going to pull him, we're going to get him away from the Astros. But that's more than likely not going to happen. Listen, maybe it was that they don't want anybody to say, hey, bring back AJ. They don't want that heat, saying because AJ did embarrass the organization. So maybe they just said, hey, guys, AJ's going to be off suspension and he ain't coming back here, so get over it. AJ isn't coming back anymore. We got Dusty for another year.
Maybe
that might have been part of it, but I don't get it. I just don't get it. We'll see whether or not it bites them in the long run here, the long run of another year. But but I think that they probably wanted to put all the AJ stuff to rest, and they like, hey, listen, Dusty's likable. I think the players like him. I think he's a baseball guy. And after that dust up that they had with Joe Kelly, he was a hero. So maybe they just said, hey, we love Dusty and he's going to be here long term.
Listen, we'll find out in 6 months when pitchers and catchers report again.